Hello, dear friend. Welcome back to this fairy tale place where we talk about perfumes all day long. Today I'm talking about winter florals, fragrances that cut through the cold and that both men and women can wear. I actually prefer some of these on men. Sometimes the torso gets a few spritzes and I am like, you are the classiest man that ever lived. While everyone else is talking about amber fragrances and gourmands this time of year, I particularly look forward to bringing out my winter florals. There's something that really makes you stand out in the wintertime when you choose to opt for this type of opulent floral fragrance. When you're in the thick of winter and you're wearing heavy clothing and all these layers and you're going outside and inside and temperatures change and you're sweating underneath all of these layers, I feel like having a lovely floral to clean you up will last you all day. If I wear a gourmand or a heavy amber fragrance, by the end of the day, I will feel dirty. But a floral will keep you uplifted. And while everyone else is sweating under their clothes, you have this beautiful icy sillage around you, and it's one of the pleasures of life for me. You can also get away with a proper cloud around you in the winter time, so spray that coat and inhale. Now, I find that many classic fragrances fit more into this category than modern fragrances. It's very hard to find a modern new release that is catered to this type of thing. A lot of modern florals are more for springtime. So yes, a lot of these will be classics, but I'm also doing affordable fragrances, so hence why I'm going to classics. First, we have First by Cleef and Arpels. This was released in 1976, so please keep that in mind when you try out this fragrance. It was not released yesterday. Created by Jean-Claude Ellena, who was a young perfumer at the time. This one I feel like was an ode to the classic floral chypre fragrances. This is undoubtedly a floral fragrance with a dry oak moss to it. I get a prominent narcissus note in First, and I find this to be a lighter take on, let's say, a more powerful 1950s aldehydic fragrance. This is lighter. It is the eau de toilette concentration that I have. My bottle is quite old, but I don't imagine that this costs a lot today. When I think of the 1970s, I think immediately of flower power, of grooviness, the hippie movement, and all of those things. Of course, I was not alive back then, so those of you who were, let me know if that actually was the case. But I imagine that if you went to the Upper East Side of Manhattan, you would find some, conservatives who would turn their nose up to this whole strong movement, and they, I would imagine, would have loved First. This was a, prominent jewelry brand that released their first fragrance, so I think that to be trendy and to seem upscale, that crowd would have particularly loved First. So this is a wonderful, bougie, upscale smelling scent that is a lighter take so that it's, easier wearable. These aren't in chronological order by release date, by the way. These are more in order of easier wearable to more complex. Next is number 22 by Chanel. I had to include this one. This is like a go-to winter floral aldehydic, crisp, cuts through the cold fragrance for me, and I really feel that more masculines, more men need to try out number 22. Number 5, I absolutely prefer on a gentleman. There's something just crazy about a man who wears number 5. Number 22, I feel like takes a just wonderful step more towards the clean side. If you work with patients, if you work in a hospital, for example, I think that number 22 would really give off that just clean yet characteristic, stunning floral sillage. I only need 2 spritzes of number 22. I never do more than that, and then I might combine it with something else, but 2 spritzes of number 22 This formulation, I'm not sure what the actual year is, but my bottle has become a lot more orange with time, which I love. It just looks like this wonderful syrup. I have been babying this bottle because I'm afraid that if I go out and purchase a new one, it's not going to be the same. This is the Eau de Toilette. Yes, I can't really speak on that. I haven't compared them side by side. But number 22, so glorious, so clean, so stunning. Next is White by Puredistance. Holy moly, this is a stunning, crystal clear white fragrance. It's on my wish list. I absolutely adore it. See, I actually have a modern one on this list. So these fragrances are on the pricier end, but there is no less than 38% perfume oil in Puredistance White. It's an Desprez formulation, so that little bullet is going to actually last you a very long time. I tried on Puredistance White about a year ago, a bit more than that, and it was a piercingly cold day. I spritzed some on and I walked out, and all of a sudden I was just chasing my own sillage. I was like, where is that scent coming from? It is just so stunningly beautiful. It is standing out in this sea of, I don't know what other people are wearing, but this is definitely just screeching out the beauty, the glory. This is a floral bouquet fragrance. There is a delicate rose de mai that is sweetening up this composition. There's sandalwood. You have the beautiful orris creating a little bit of powderiness. There is patchouli as well. It's just everything has been measured to perfection in Puredistance White. This is a clean yet romantic floral affair that, yeah, both genders, you just all need to try out Puredistance White. That is a wowzer. This is one of the few times in this lineup that I mention a fragrance that contains rose. If I decided to go down the rose path, we would be sitting here all day long. So I'm more sticking to the floral bouquets. So especially for winter time, this is just beautiful. Next, we have Baghari by Piguet. I have a 100 ml bottle of this somewhere and I can't even find it at the moment. I just spent ages looking for the bottle. Just goes to show that I have way too many fragrances. Bugari I adore. This is a cousin to Chanel No. 5, but I find Bugari even more unisex. No. 5 is definitely unisex, but when you wear Bugari, you're less likely to be pointed out as wearing that fragrance. It's a little bit less known. It's like No. 5 passing you by in a breeze. It's a champagne-y, aldehydic opening with jasmine and rose emerging in the heart, and then warmed by an amber vanilla musky base. This one is a classic that smells classic and that will make you smell classy. Fifth, we have Poison by Dior. I mean, how could I not mention Poison as a winter floral that cuts through? This is a fragrance where the opening could almost kill you. The first time that I smelled Poison, I was like I almost fell over the first time I smelled this because the entire boutique just reeked of this screechy, hot 80s mess, and I was like, what is going on? And the sales assistant was like, oh, did you just spray Poison? I adore Poison. I was like, what is she going on about? But I put it on a blotter and I walked out, and then hours later, I was like, what is that? Like crazy. I went crazy. I was like, that is the most unique, stunning. I couldn't even describe it. It was dark, yet it was inviting. It was just poisonous. It was just, I'm just at a loss of words for Poison. And this isn't even the vintage bottle. My bottle is some years old, quite a few years old, but it's still not the vintage, and I'm still satisfied with the one that I have. I will seek out a vintage though. Anyways, I digress. My mother, when she speaks about the 80s, speaks about two camps when she was out clubbing in her youthful days. There were the ladies who were Coco by Chanel, and then there were the ladies who were Poison. So naturally, she wore Chanel No. 19 to stand out. But Poison is a melange of this wonderful plum sweetened by jasmine. It's all kinds of things. This is a floral bouquet that is a punch. There's a warm ambery, sandalwoody base to poison. Some people smell jasmine on me when I wear poison. Other people don't know what the heck they're smelling. But yeah, poison and I go way back. I have a whole history with poison, and maybe I'll do a whole video on the Dior poison lines, even though there's a million of them, but I have a personal story to tell. So there we go. Sixth we have, and now we are, so poison is one of the more challenging fragrances, more out of your comfort zone, more jarring, polarizing. Not everyone will love, but if you love it, you are obsessed, like you're a lover for life, like me. And then the next one we have is Bala Versailles by Jean Desprez. This is from 1962. It has been worn by Queen Elizabeth. It has been worn by a host of famous people. I'm not sure if Queen Elizabeth, Her Royal Highness, sorry, still wears Bala Versailles today, or if she's moved on to the latest Ariana Grande. But this is a fragrance that just seeks attention. This is an old school, yes, let's say that, an old school civet filled chypre with oak moss and a whole host of floral notes. And at the time that this was created, there were over 350 essences that were inside Bala Versailles, so it seemed like they threw in absolutely everything that they could find to create an extremely opulent fragrance that would be worthy of royalty. I mean, perfumes like this were worn by the highest ranks of society back then. Of course, they had to be complicated. Due to the resins and the animalic qualities of this fragrance, this actually is a warm fragrance. So this is not a clean white floral bouquet. This is a floral bouquet with civet, with a good grounding to it. And I need a refill of Bala Versailles. Today, this just smells like a, heavily vintage inspired niche fragrance, and I don't think that it's very expensive either. This is the eau de toilette that I have. You can also get the Parfum, which is maybe about 200 pounds, but this you could pay like, 50 pounds and get a big bottle of the EDT and smell pretty damn good. So now, just to kind of prove a point of where I'm heading with this conclusion on this line of fragrances, this smells like a current niche formulation, and the one that I'm talking about now is Maai. I'll go with Maai. So Maai has aldehydes to begin with, check. Jasmine, check. Civet, check. A bed of resins, check. Musks, check. So this is so clearly inspired by some of these wonderful foremothers in fragrance that I spoke about. And I know both men and women that wear Maai. A lot of the Maai characters in my head are artistic types that seem to be quiet at first, but then they wear fragrance like Maai to kind of really express what their personality truly is. Now, the opening of Maai could kill you once again, but the dry down of this fragrance is like this interesting cross between perfumes of the past and this current niche mentholated breath. It really gives off this mysterious sillage with it, and Maai is another heavy puncher. So on this scale of wearable, easily approachable to, more challenging, we have Maai. I hope you enjoyed this little lineup of florals that both men and women can wear that are particularly amazing in cold weather. And do let me know if you wear any of these fragrances yourself and which climate that you find yourself in. Can you wear this in all types of weather? Personally, I just love these in the piercing cold. So I hope that you have a wonderful day, my wonderful friend, and I will see you next time.